Hey, everybody. Hello and happy Thursday to you. It is January 12th, and the 88th legislative session is underway. This is the first week. They've selected a speaker, they've approved the rules, and we can already tell that your rights and liberties are in jeopardy at the legislature. So, what I wanted to do was make a quick video about how to. Follow bills that are important to you. Now, I am not a single issue voter. I'm a ranked issue voter, which means that there are issues that are important to me, and there are some issues that are more important to me than others. But I am not a single issue voter, and I'm not a party voter. I'm a person voter. So I will either vote for or against you based on who you are and what you stand for, but not because you belong to a particular party. I voted this last election for a number of Republicans, a number of Democrats, and a number of Libertarians, depending on what the office was and what they stood for. So, you can't count on me for a straight line ticket vote. But what's important to you may not be important to me, and what's important to us might not be important to others. So how do you track what's going on in the legislature? How do you know what they are doing? Rose, thank you so much. And how you doing, everybody? Thanks for tuning in today. So I wanted to let you know, I'm going to share this here. I wanted to show you sort of how to track bills, how to find bills, and also how to get updates on bills. Because here's what's important. If you're writing emails, you might as well just write nothing. If you're making a phone call, you almost might as well say nothing. But if you show up, that's what's important. And I think the legislators count on the fact that most people can't afford to follow everything going on in the legislature. And they don't want them to show up. So what you do is you find something that's important to you. So for me, I will show up for three types of issues. One is, of course, gun rights. One is property taxes. One is abortion. And then also police accountability is high up there as well. So those kinds of bills, but it's easy for me because I'm about an hour away from Austin, and it's not a huge investment, but it can be, because especially if it's a bill that a lot of people are interested in, what our legislators like to do is wait until the last minute, and they hold off on the most contentious bill, whether it's constitutional carry or abortion on demand or whatever it is, hoping that people will want to get home, and they have to feed their kids in the evening or whatever, and so they wait to the last minute, and these things can go on for 8 hours. I have been at the legislature during the legislative session, literally testifying on bills at 2:00 in the morning. And I'm the only person that cared enough to wait that long. That's just what they do. And so anyway, how do you do that? What do we do? Here is, let me do it this way. There we go. If you go to, let me increase the size of this real quick. I didn't realize it was that. Here we go. All right. If you go to capital.texas.gov, capital.texas.gov, that's TOL, not TAL. So Capitol, and you come to Texas Legislature online. Okay. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a profile. So I'm not going to go through all that. That's all self-explanatory. I already have I should have a profile here. Let me see. I'm surprised it didn't. Nope, that wasn't it. Hang on. I probably should have had this ready, huh? Hang on. Let's see if that's it. Okay. Well, guys, I might actually end up showing you how this whole thing works. Let me try this. Let me see if it's my Gmail. Nope. All right. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm logged in. All right. That took a long time. Anyway, once you create your profile, you log in. And when you go to capital.texas.gov, like it says up here, you'll come to this page here. Make sure that you've got the correct legislative session. Now, if you want to look up bills from previous sessions, here they are right here, right there. So you want to go to the 88th or the most recent one. And so for the purposes of this, whatever is important to you, I did a radio show the other day and I was talking to one of the hosts on the show, the engineer, and he's like, you know what I really like? I like, explosives. And I'm like, well, let's just see if there's any bills that have to do with explosives. So I type in the word explosive, you click go. At the time, there were 2 bills. There's still only 2 bills with the word explosive in them. And here they are, right? So you can click on the bill. You can open up different aspects of it if you want to see everything that's going on. So it was filed, introduced by Representative Raymond. It was filed in November, right after the elections. You can read the text of the bill in either PDF format, HTML, or Word, whichever you want to do. And here's what it says. All right. So that's kind of how you find a bill. And but for the purposes of this, let's do. I'm going to do firearm because I'm trying to find out. So look at this. There are 77 bills that mention firearms in some way that have been filed. Now, what we're going to do is later. What you'll want to do is to make sure that you've got everything. Do searches after you figured this out. Do searches for gun, handgun, rifle, assault weapon. I mean, you're going to want to do all kinds of different word searches to find the bills that you're looking for. But this brings up 77 right here. And you can do it to where it shows an excerpt and a caption. You can sort by bill number, which I'm actually going to do. There we go. That way they're all in order. And here's what we got. Now, I can always tell if it's Moody right away, it's going to be an anti-gun bill. You can read the caption related to requiring the report of certain sales of multiple firearms or multiple firearm magazines. This even says magazines and creates a criminal offense. So if you were to buy more than 3 detachable magazines, now if I want to read what the bill is, you click down here, go to text. I like to click on the HTML unless I'm going to save it. But it says right here that a multiple firearm sales report is required when a retailer sells or otherwise transfers to the same buyer. So if you want to go in there and you want to buy more than 1 firearm, let's say you're buying a rifle and a pistol, or a pistol and a shotgun, or 2 pistols, or more than 3 detachable firearm magazines, right, other than the ones that come with it, then you've got to report this to the government. The government, according to this bill by Moody, the government is supposed to know when you buy more than 1 firearm or when you buy more than 3 magazines. This is absolutely stupid. Oh, and by the way, if you fail to do that, it's a Class B misdemeanor, which means about 6 months in jail for simply failing to do that. So anyway, I've read this. I obviously oppose this, right? So here's what you do. You add to a bill. You can add this HB 22. You can add it to a bill list. And it's not showing you that. Hang on. Let me fix this. I wonder if I can just do that screen. That's interesting. It only shows that window. Let me do screen 2. There we go. I'll just do it that way. All right, we'll do it that way. Screen 2. There we go. Now I'm going to create a new bill list because I have to do this every year. So this is 2023 bills I oppose, right? What is this one? Magazine and firearm reporting. You don't have to put any of that stuff, but it just tells me that when I go into my list that I'm going to see it. So I click OK. Boom, it's added to my bill list. But now I also want to be notified. So I'm going to add it to my alert list as well. And when you click on this add to alert list right here, it'll bring up this window. And what do you want to be notified of? I pretty much want to be notified of anything, right? So any category, anytime this bill happens, anytime there's movement, it's placed in a committee, it's scheduled for a vote, it gets a vote, it moves to calendars, it moves to the Senate, et cetera, et cetera. So by selecting any category here, anytime there is movement on this bill, HB 22, I will get alerted to that. So now it's successfully added to my list. There's a question here. How do you find the numbered bill? Here's some text, but I have no idea how to find it. Like I said, if it's the best way to do that, I'll go back here real quick. The best way to do that is go to capital.texas.gov. If you know what the text is of a bill, you can type it in here. If you know the bill number, you can just do the bill number by clicking this bubble right here. So either the word or the phrase or the bill number. I like to do the word or phrase unless I specifically know of a bill. And once you hit go, sort by bill number. And then if you're looking for a particular bill, you can just go through this list and figure out, which one it is just by reading the caption or an excerpt of it. And the excerpt is generally going to be whatever your search term was. It's going to provide an excerpt of that search term. So we've already added HB 22. Let's see what this HB 28 is. Related to enhancing the punishment for certain conduct constituting a criminal offense of aggravated assault. So I don't know what that is. I might want to go in here and look at it. You might want to go in here and look at it. Looks like they're adding language here about, so an offense under the subsection is a felony of the second degree, except that it's a felony of the first degree if the actor uses a deadly weapon during the commission of the assault and causes a traumatic brain injury or spine injury to another person. So what this is doing is it's adding, when you see a bill and stuff is underlined, this is what is being added to the law. If something's getting repealed from the law, it will have a line through it, not under it. That's how you kind of understand how to read what these bills are. So that's all that this bill does, is it makes it an increased crime if you use a deadly weapon in the commission of assault and you cause a traumatic brain or spine injury. Guess why I'm going to support this? Because Olmos Park assaulted me with a deadly weapon, which is a taser, and it caused me a traumatic brain injury. Yes, it did, and it made law school very difficult, by the way. It makes life in general very difficult because of how much I have to focus and concentrate on things now ever since my head got smacked onto the concrete and cracked open. So, this is a bill that I would support. It's not necessarily a gun bill. It's more of a crime bill. So what I might want to do is when I go up here and I want to add it to a bill list, see, I've already created one, bills I oppose. And as we create these lists, this will start populating. But I'm going to do a new bill. And this is just 2023. And I'm going to put criminal acts. So actual crimes where there's actually a victim. So this adds TBI to felony offense. Right? That just tells me why am I adding this bill to this list? Obviously, if there's a victim, then there is a crime. I believe that crime should have victims. Obviously, if you assault somebody, you've interfered with their rights. And now if they're injured, I think if you use a deadly weapon, if you violate or abuse your right under the Second Amendment or any other amendment, if you abuse those rights, you should be held accountable for that. So I'll click OK. I don't think I necessarily want to be alerted, but just for the point, let's just say, hey, I want to be alerted to when it's scheduled for a hearing. That's all I really want to know. That's all I care about. So I'm just going to click OK. Now, when that bill is scheduled for a hearing, I will be notified. HB 28. Now, let's go back to my list here. Scrolling down. Oh, here's another Moody bill. I'm probably going to oppose that. Relating to access to certain law enforcement, corrections, prosecutorial. So I don't like when the legislature gives law enforcement more power. So I definitely want to look at this bill, HB 30. So this is creating, again, this is underlined, which means this is being added to the law. The Office of the Attorney General shall establish and maintain in its internet website a publicly accessible database of reports submitted to the office under Articles 2139 and 21395. So these are probably new articles. As you go down here, we'll probably see some extra stuff here. All right, what is this doing? The personnel records of a commissioned officer of the department may not be disclosed or otherwise made available to the public, except that it shall release in accordance with, and then it's got to release this information. A force report, incident report, extraordinary occurrence report, emergency action report, taser use report, or any other report made by an officer concerning the use of, okay, actually, believe it or not, I support that. This should be released as public information. I think anytime that an officer uses force, or if there's an incident report, what is one of the hardest things as an activist to do is to get incident reports, because it's very hard to find to hold cops accountable when they won't give you anything. So this is actually a bill that I support because it allows people access to more information about the use of force, especially tasers, or any other report made by an officer concerning the use of force or firearms by the officer. A fleet occurrence report. So this is interesting. So this is one that I would support. Well, let me make sure, because there's other information down here. So I definitely support these two. He's also adding, this exception does not accept information that is basic information about an arrested person. So that protects personal information. Basic information. I'm going to have to read this one again. There's a lot of stuff here. What I really want to do, I'm not going to do all of my analysis in front of you because that would just be very boring. But I do want to add this to a bill list. And at least right now, because I'm going to go back through this, 2023 bills I support, and allows for more accountability in use of force. That's my take on this one. So I'm going to click on yes. It's added to my list. And I also want to be notified when this bill starts moving. So I'm going to click OK. I've added it to my alert list right here. I've added it to my bill list. Now I think we've got couple of bills, one each one. So if you go back to my TLO and you hover over right here, you'll see a drop-down list. You got bill alerts or bill lists, alerts, save searches, stuff like that. Okay. So if I want to go to my bill lists, here so far are my lists for 2023. Now, if I go back to like 2019, you can see kind of how I listed a lot of these bills here. So going back, let's just pretend this is a current one that I made. You want to see, okay, what are all the pro-gun bills that I support? So I'm going to run that, and boom, here's your list of pro-gun bills. If I want, what are all the anti-gun bills that were from that session? You click run next to anti-gun bills, boom, here it is. Here's your list, right? If you don't want to go through a bunch of pages, you can click over here and just get the bill numbers only. And here's my notes. These are my notes over here that I made. Remember when I made the notes for the ones that we just added. So, all right. If we go back to bill lists and I want to go to current, here's my current ones. I can run, bills I oppose. So far, I've only got one. Again, if I just want the bill number and my notes, here's my description right here. All right. So that's how you create lists in TLO. Let me see if there were any other questions here. How do I find the network? I already did that one. Democrats say, give us your guns and we'll give you marijuana. Yeah. I think I played with the website before, but I had ID numbers. Hopefully I gave you extra time as a reasonable accommodation of the ADA. I didn't ask for extra time. I didn't think I needed it. Thankfully, I was able to find ways, like I just asked to be in the back of the room. So they did give me accommodations to at least help me to focus better. So on his DD 214, does it say Master Sergeant or First Sergeant as his rank upon retirement? It says First Sergeant. Why? If you're talking about me, is there another conversation up there somewhere that I missed? The hell does that have to do with anything? Is this chat censored? No, not that I know of. And then EA says yes, and Crap Metro says bummer. I don't know. No, it's not censored. Everybody here is chatting. All right. That's how you find a list. That's how you now let's say I want to save this search because this is my search of firearms. But as you know, more people are going to be filing bills, either pro 2A or anti 2A. So you can save your search by just clicking save search, and it's just firearm bills, and then save that. So now with all of the words, I'm just going to put with any of the words, hello. Oh, here we go. We'll just do custom, but I'm going to change it because remember, like I said, you can, it's not just firearms. Sometimes there's, other things like that. So I'm going to put gun, handgun, assault weapon, and I'm also going to put magazine, and I'm going to put high capacity as another term. And let's see, that'll be it for that. That's what I'm going to keep for my weapons. And then I'm going to save. Let's see, let's do a search on that. Save. Oh, here it is. Save search right here. And these are all the terms that bill is going to bring up. Let's see if it changes to more than 77 here. Save. All right. Sorry about the train. Now I'm going to do load search. Run. Sorry. Hopefully y'all can hear me now. So these are my search terms right here. This is the firearm bill. I want to run that search. Whoa, what the heck? What did I do wrong here? New search. Firearm, gun, handgun, assault weapon, magazine. Oh, maybe that's asking for, oh, you know what? I know what I'm doing wrong. I want any of the words, not all of those words. Firearm, gun, handgun, assault weapon, magazine, high capacity. There we go. Now I should get everything. There we go. Oh, see, now we got 310. 310. Let's see. My father was on the E9 list when he retired. I actually, when I retired, I was the sergeant major for current operations. I was in a sergeant major position. So I was the current ops sergeant major for 3 Corps, but I still retired as an E8. And sometimes once you're promoted to E or whatever the rank is, if you don't serve in that rank for a specific amount of time, you won't be able to retire at that rank. You'll have to retire at the rank prior. For first sergeant versus master sergeant, as long as you do your minimum time as a first sergeant that's required, which I think was at the time 2 years or 3 years, then you retire as a first sergeant versus a master sergeant. But those are the same pay grade, just different ranks. All right. I don't know why we're talking about that, but we are. My comment about Democrats and marijuana didn't show up on the YouTube account I'm using on my computer. That's why I asked. I see it right here. Now this is being broadcast to 2 different channels, so I'm not sure which channel you're on, but I see it. I mean, it's right. Look, I'll even whoop, not that one. Where is it? There it is. I mean, I see it. I see all the comments, but I'm not sure. What I don't know is, are you commenting from the OCT channel or are you commenting from the CJ Grisham channel? So that's all I see. All right. Now I want to do the sort by bill number again, because there we go. I don't really care about this. See, when you add in all those other terms, you got this stuff. So I don't really care necessarily. I mean, I might go back and look at this. So my office, let me so my office right now is still being built. This is the spray foam that will be eventually covered up with a wall. They just built out this section of my uncle's auction lot here, and they built this as an office for me. And so it's not complete yet. I still got concrete floors, and I haven't even brought everything into my office yet. But that's just spray foam in the back, and eventually we'll have wood paneling back there. And all right. So going back to this, there we go. Once I added in all these things, here's HB 22 again. What is this one here? This is, I don't really care too much, probably. We already talked about 28. Here's records. Hinojosa, relating to the use of average enrollment for purposes of public school finance. Now, see, I probably care about that one, but so you know what? Here's what I'm going to do, because I do care about school issues. So here's what I was talking about earlier. If you look, see how this is marked out. So this is the current law, but what this bill wants to do is delete this section from current law and likely add something else. So for example, this is looking for daily attendance instead of enrollment. And here's what this bill is trying to do. What the left is trying to do, because they realize that they're losing people in the public education system to the private schooling as well as to homeschooling. And so their daily attendance rosters means that it's costing them money. And Hinojosa wants to continue funding schools even though you have less people there. So she wants it being on average enrollment as opposed to daily attendance. So I would probably oppose this, but I'd want to look over it more specifically. But you can see she's adding the word enrollment to the law and taking out the word daily attendance from the law. That's what this bill would do. But just for the sake of showing you what I want to do here, I want to go look at the text. Here's the text. I want to add this to a bill list. It's going to be a new bill list. This is going to be 2023 school issues. And I'm just going to put issues related to education that I care about. Hit OK. There, it's added to that list. I probably want to know, I'll just put any category here. So I clicked on add to alert list. This window pops up. I want to be alerted to anything that happens with this bill. Click OK. Now, what's going to happen is when this bill gets assigned to a committee, because if you look, I don't know why it keeps opening in my other window. If you look, once it is filed, so that's kind of weird, because if it wasn't filed, I wouldn't even be able to open up the bill. But, you know, it would notify me. It would send me a notification that was filed. So the next step is it's going to get referred to a committee, probably the education committee. Then it's going to get scheduled for a hearing, or it may not. Then it'll get reported out of committee as passed or failed. A committee report will be printed and distributed. And what that committee report will say is to everybody that testified for or against that bill, which is interesting. So if you go back, and this I want to show you as well. If you go back, I'm going to go back to, let's go back 2015 when we got open carry, right? So I'm going to run my gun bills. And as you can see, a lot of these bills didn't even get sent to these are Senate companions. So this was referred, left pending, referred, left pending. This was the stun guns and stuff. This was placed on the calendar where it died, placed on the calendar where it died, calendar, committee. All right, let's go down to one that was passed. Signed by the governor is what I should see, because this was the year we got open carry passed. Withdrawn from the scale. Here we go. Effective. So this was SB 273. If I go to the history of this, One of the great things you can see is the actions that were taken. And where are the committee reports? There are bill stages, history, text. Here we go. So in the House, you can see, or the Senate, I guess, you can see the witness list of who was down there for this particular bill. We had Richard Briscoe was there for Open Carry Texas. And I was probably down there in another bill at the same time, because a lot of times there's two bills going at the same time. And so, you look at that. You've got the TSRA was in favor of it. And of course, against it, you had AJ Louderback from the Sheriff's Association of Texas. I think this is when we stopped funding the Sheriff's Association of Texas. And Sheriff Louderback's a good dude, but he was, elected into this position. And if the Sheriff's Association says oppose it, as the leader, he had to go in there and oppose it. But here's how you can look at who some of the witnesses were in past bills. Trying to find the referred to state affairs. Where is our? There it is, HB 910. So here's the open carry bill. And if you wanted to see the text, so here's the Senate committee report. You can see that I testified there in favor of that. You can see who testified against it. All these moms demanding action because they can't get none at home. People that were against it. You can also see what organizations, self. So Austin Police Department, some gay dude didn't like the bill. Self, Moms Demand Action, the College Democrats of America, Moms Demand Action. Okay, so Texas Gun Sense. Trying to see if there were any other. The Republican Party of Texas was for it. Exotic Wildlife Association. So anyway, that's how you look at all that stuff right there. All right, so that's it. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, exactly. Hey, John, where's the bill to abolish qualified immunity from the Democrats? Exactly. And here's let's find out. Let's see if there is something in here about qualified immunity. So we go back to the home. Let's go back up here to 2023, and let's type in qualified immunity. See if there are any bills. Oh, here's one. Relating to the creation of the Uvalde Victims Compensation Fund. Well, this is interesting. I wonder, what does that have to do with qualified immunity? So there's only one bill right now. Let's do a search for qualified immunity. There it is. So nothing changes there. That's it. So it's just a bill, but nothing. So nothing's getting done. Nothing's getting done about qualified immunity, at least not according to TLO. So there's only one bill that has anything about qualified immunity, even in the bill text, but they're not adding or taking anything away from it. So I think there are over 1,000 bills already filed this session. All right. That's a good primer there. And I just showed you how you can find just about anything. I mean, let's see if swatting is in here. Let's see if there's anything about swatting. No, let's try just SWAT. No, nothing about swatting. What's another word for swatting? Let's see what a legal term would be. I don't know. Doxing? Is doxing a... No. Whoops, not D-I-X, D-O-X. No. Let's try abuse 911. See if anything comes up with that. Let's do search criteria here. Let's modify the search. Let's put abuse 911 and emergency. Whew. All right, let's see. Reports of child abuse, pilot program to provide. No. There's like 260 matches here. Now I don't have time to go through all of that. Yeah, let's try false reporting. All right, there's 5 here. Relating to civil liability for discriminatory false reports to law enforcement agencies. Let's see what that looks like. Liability for a person who submits a false report to a law enforcement agency or emergency service provider with the intent that the law enforcement agency or emergency service provider take action against a falsely accused person is liable to the falsely accused person for an amount not to exceed. What? Oh, if the report was submitted due to bias or prejudice against race. Oh, so this is just a freaking social equity thing. You know what? Get rid of all of this. I would support this bill if we get rid of all of this and we make this 25,000 at least. This needs to be 25,000. So I'm going to contact Representative Rosenthal. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add this to my bills. So this is HB 689. I'm going to create a bill list. And this is going to be 2023 Justice and Accountability. All right, I can only fit so much in here. Okay, so that's all I can put. This is, I'm actually going to put swatting on this, even though that's not what it says. Swatting and fake 911 calls. And then my bill comment on here is going to be contact author to remove language, increase amount. Because that's what I want to do. You know, someone makes a false 911 call on you and you get swatted. It's only $250, but then only if you were swatted because of your race. That's stupid. Why can't we just treat everyone equally under the law? I'm also going to add this to my alert list. I want to know of anything that happens with this bill. Let's go back to the text here. Oh, that's it right there. If a falsely accused person prevails, the person may also recover attorney's fees and costs. But I mean, look, for nearly being murdered, you only get $250 from the person? Heck no. And attorney's fees possibly? Yeah, that's not enough. This is not enough. And then all of this needs to be removed. Period. If you make a false 911 call or a report to a law enforcement agency with the intent that they take action against you, that person should be liable. Period. Doesn't matter what. So what? White males aren't allowed to be, are essentially excluded from this. Only white males have no way to see. That's what's wrong with this. That's what's wrong with these Democrats. They only care about some people, not everybody. But if he wants my support on this bill, we need to delete all of this so that it's equal for everybody. And then we need to increase this, I would say, to at least $25,000. $250? Hey, you know, someone might be like, you know what? I can pay $250 to swat this person. I can afford that. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Crazy. That's not enough. That's not enough to be a deterrent right there. I should be able to sue that person for a lot more than that. All right. So I've added that bill. Let's see. What else did we see here? Child abuse, extreme risk protection orders. Oh, so a lot of ERPOs in here. In other words, red flag laws. So those are the only ones that have to do with, these are discriminatory false reports. I'm going to have to come back and look at these. All right, guys. Yeah, 250,000. But most people don't have 250,000, but they can come up with 25,000. They can sell a house or a car or something and get 25,000. And that's just for the call. I mean, if you've got injuries, if you're actually injured by the cops as a result, that you can add that to your damages for sure. So I mean, just because it says 25,000 doesn't mean that's what it's capped at. The 25,000 is strictly for them making the phone call. So I think and that's just the civil liability. There's already criminal liability, but that should be a little bit bigger. All right, and that's really what I wanted to show y'all today. This has been 41 minutes. I wanted to show you kind of how all of this works. Now, let's say that you want to find out what bills are filed into the committees. So if you come over here, and generally gun bills are filed in the Homeland Security and Public Safety Committee. So if you go down to a committee you're looking for, if you're looking for schools, where's education at? What do they have education under? Public education. So it's under public education. You can click on that committee. This is the committee that is most of the bills that have to do with guns and stuff. You should be able to see bills in and out of committee by clicking on that, but so far there's nothing in there. You can see when the meetings are scheduled. Obviously, there's nothing in there yet. You'll be able to find all the bills that have been filed in this committee. You can see membership history. So just so y'all know, that's how you look that up. But there's nothing in there right now because this is all brand new. They don't even have a clerk name up here yet, or which room has been assigned for that committee. Because again, this is just the first week, so this is when everything gets hammered out. All right, that's all I wanted to show y'all. So here's what I'll end with. Okay, I know a lot of people can't afford the time to get down to Austin, and so at the very beginning of this video, I talked about how there are a lot of issues that are important to me, a lot, and they're all freedom related. But unfortunately, I can't be down in Austin every single day, so I have to rank and prioritize what types of things are important to me. And if you're someone who has a very detailed schedule, or it's very difficult for you to get away, you might want to stick to what's the most important issue to me. And let's just say that that's guns, right? Let's say constitutional carry is on the ballot. And that's the one thing that I want to see passed. So you go in here, right? You find the constitutional carry bill, and you add it to your list, and you add it to your alerts, and then you make a commitment that as soon as it's scheduled for a hearing, that's the one hearing that I can afford to take off work to go to. The other thing that I would recommend you do, if you can't, again, keep in mind, the best way to make a difference is to show up. That's the number one thing. They can easily ignore your emails. They can easily ignore your phone calls, because what's going to happen is you're going to get a call. It's going to be a staffer. The staffer's going to pick up the phone, going to write a note, and then they're going to brief. All they're really going to do is they're going to brief the legislator. Hey, we got X number of calls for this bill, X number of calls against this bill. They're not going to say that Crap Metro Observer called and said this about this bill. They're not going to do that. They're going to say we got X number of calls in favor of or against this bill. Now, the legislator might say, well, who called in favor of it, or who called in opposition to it, and what was their opposition? But generally, that's not what's going to happen. I mean, unless there's like a recurring theme. Oh, most of the opponents they oppose it because they don't like the race aspect of it. They want that bill where there's personal liability, but it needs to be for everybody, not just people who make these 911 calls because of race or sex or gender or anything else. If you can't show up personally to testify, or let's say you can't stay there all day, because remember I said it might be on the schedule for 10 o'clock on a particular day that bill is going to be heard, but it might not be heard until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then it might be a 6-hour testimony after that, and you're there till 2 o'clock in the morning, and you might be one of the last ones there. So you can go, and I'm going to do a separate video from Austin about how to sign up to testify there. You can also, if you remember, when I go to the committees, eventually, and I'm just using this as an example, you're going to have a clerk name up here. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that name will have a hyperlink to send an email, or you can even call the phone number. And If you can't be there, you can email written testimony to the clerk of that committee. Make sure the clerk knows that it's on this bill or that bill, and that testimony will be entered even if you're not there. That written testimony can be entered in. And if you remember how we went and looked up, so 2015 gun bills. I'm just going to straight up look for 910 right here. So I go to history, actions, or I'm sorry, history. Where is it text? Man, I never know where to go. But if you go in here and you look at like the witness list, sometimes you'll have like registering, but not testifying for and against. And then there should be, here it is, right down here, providing written testimony. So let's say you go down there and no, you cannot testify under an alias because it's actual testimony. So you have to use your name. And if you just provide written testimony, it'll still show up here as for or against something, even if you can't be there. But what you got to do is you got to get into that committee, whatever committee it is. This is the Senate State Affairs because this is an SB. So Senate State Affairs or Homeland Security and Public Safety in the House, State Affairs in the Senate. And when you go to that committee and you send, okay, oh, well, here we go. Well, this is obviously, this is 2015, duh. I was like, wait, Pancho Navarez isn't in there anymore. Neither is Molly White. But you see how there's a phone number here and then there's a clerk. So you'll want to call the clerk and say, hey, I'd like to submit written testimony on HB 910 or whatever bill it is that you want to submit something to. And you'll get an address, and then that's how you submit written testimony. All right, that's how you do that. And so you don't necessarily have to be there, but at least your stuff gets admitted into the record. What else did I want to show you? I think that's pretty much everything. All right, let's see. No, you can't. I already talked about that. Can't testify under an alias. I'm a retired cripple. Time I got. Money is limited for gas. Okay. Time I got, money is limited for gas. And the other thing you could do is, if you want to get a group, let's say there's something that you and a bunch of people care about in your local area, pick that day where there's a committee assignment and, get somebody that's willing to drive and split the cost of all that kind of stuff. And, take a group of 5 or 6 people down there. What you can email, if you email to the committee chair, because it says snail mail or email, you can email or snail mail. And if you do that, then just make sure you email to the committee clerk. Okay. Don't send it to the representative, send it to the committee clerk. Because if you send it to your representative, it's just going to get lost, especially if it's against his bill, instead of for his bill. So, yeah, there was that. Can we record our own testimony? No, they don't do video recorded testimony. Now, I know during COVID, I believe you could testify over Zoom, but I don't think they're doing that anymore. So you either have to write a written testimony or show up. And you can show up and register for or against a bill with and testify or without testifying. That's up to you. But I'm going to do that later. Once we get to that point, I'll show people, we're going to show people how to go down and testify using the iPads that are down there, how to sign up for testimony and all that kind of stuff. But this video was just meant to show you how to use this website, TLO. You can find committee meetings, committee witness. None of this stuff's going to populate right now. Who are members of the House? Who's the Speaker of the House? You can look in the House and the Senate. So right now I've got the Texas House open. You can go to the Senate as well. Same thing. You can look up bills sponsored by Senate members, co-sponsored by Senate members, all that kind of stuff. All right. Same thing down here. Here's where all your bills are, sponsored by House members, sponsored, whatever. And here's where you can find all the filed House bills. Watch this. Ready to have your mind blown? That's how many laws, that's how many bills so far have been filed in the state house. And it's only going to go higher. It's only going to go 1,000 pieces of legislation that micromanage every aspect of your life. And that's just the House, ladies and gentlemen. That is only the House. Look at this. Filed Senate bills. So you're talking 1,800, 411 Senate bills, 1,406 House bills. 1,817 bills have been filed that relate to everything from the power grid to whatever this stuff is. Temporarily house a child in conservatorship, child care providers, carrying of concealed handguns by on the campus of a school district. Ooh, I might like this one. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this is Bob Hall. Yes. So this is the bill. Good. I'm glad he filed this. Check this out. This is going to be great. So I'm going to definitely add this bill. The Board of Trustees of a school district or the governing body of an open enrollment may not adopt any rule, regulation, or other provision prohibiting or restricting a district or school employee while performing job duties on the premises from carrying in a concealed manner a handgun that the employee is licensed to carry. This allows teachers, this bill will allow teachers to carry a gun on a K through 12 school. Additionally, down here, let's see, what's he doing here? A school district, blah, 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 blah. So this also says that an employee can't be blocked from carrying a handgun onto higher education or school. A license holder may carry a concealed handgun on or about the license holder's person while the license holder is on the campus of a school district or open enrolled and charter school in this state. That means even you and I, everybody, if you have a license, now this is only going to be for license holders. And I'm not necessarily, if you look to the history and tradition, okay, I mean, obviously I think people should be able to carry handguns everywhere, right? You shouldn't need government permission. But hey, if you want to be able to carry onto a school grounds and you're going to go through the background check and all that stuff to get a license, this is a good bill. They let armed cops into schools, and license holders are almost seven times, like 6.7 times. License holders are 6.7 times or so less likely to commit a crime than a cop. They are the most law-abiding segment of society. Why shouldn't they be allowed to carry a firearm in self-defense on a school campus? And yeah, concealed because the teachers are so busy brainwashing everyone that the sight of a gun is something to freak out about. So let's at least get it working on concealed carry. But this Hall bill from Senator Hall is a great piece of legislation. So I am going to add that to my bill list. Hey, where'd it go? There it is. This is obviously a bill I support. Bill comment allows LTC holders in schools. There you go. That's been added to my list, and I definitely want to know anything. This is my number one bill this session. Is to allow license holders to carry at school. All right, so it's added to my alert list, and it's added to my bills list. Now, if I go back here to my TLO, I click on my bills list, bills I support, run that. You see the two bills I've already added into, and there's going to be more. And then here's my comment down here. You can also go to your alerts for bills, and you can see everything that, if I want to change something, I can change an alert for a particular bill. This also tells me which bill is my number one bill this session. This one, I only want to know about a hearing, et cetera, et cetera. All right, under my TLO. Of course, you got your save searches and all that. All right, that's all I wanted to show you guys. 1,800 bills, ladies and gentlemen, filed. 1,800 bills. And I'm going to keep this video under an hour for y'all and end it right now. But before I do, yes, janitors and other contractors will be allowed to carry if they are licensed. Guess the AG never responded for 911 calls. Nope, I never got a response from that. I think I've answered all the other. This year, will they convene? Yes, they just started Tuesday. Tuesday was the first day of the session. And Rick Briscoe, our legislative director, has been down there already. I haven't been down there yet this session. Hey, HBO Matt, thank you for that $2 donation. I appreciate you. All right, I think that's it. All right. Thank you guys. Take care. Be safe. Be free. I'm going to give you there's only 8 people left on this stream. I know it got boring quick. Give you a minute to come up with any questions that you got. All right. Y'all take care. Be safe and be free. I'll see you next time.